current geopolitical conditions are concerning, both national and international. Can you share your thoughts on foreign policy that has an impact on us in real estate, and where do you think things are going?
The world is becoming much more multipolar, quite candidly. In the meanwhile, unfortunately, even though we're still the most innovative country in our most ingenious, most flexible, most adaptive, still largest economy, and cutting-edge technology, but we also have a lot of challenges. We now have the largest public debt we've ever had in our history. Per capita debt is the largest we've ever had, since even larger than post-Second World War. We have the largest deficit, even though we have now the largest military spending in history. You know, a lot of people misunderstand our military spending because they look at only Defense Department spending. They don't add to it Energy Department, which is our nuclear platform, and or Veterans Administration, which is managing the result of our conflicts, which is another $200 or $300 billion. So if you really look at our collective, we're talking 1.4, 1.5 trillion on a budget that's running 2 trillion negative. So we're you know, the world is going through now. We're back to maybe some argue, going back to early 2014, 15, 16, when the world was becoming very conflictual with great powers, and because you see now the rise of great power rivalries, and you know, nobody's talking about World Trade Organization anymore. Nobody's talking about tariffs. Nobody's talking about, you know, non-tariff barriers. Nobody's talking about trade, free trade. I mean, so the world has shifted, and unfortunately, domestically, our politics now has become so divisive that there's a lack of consensus about who we are anymore. I just think that our country has so many good things, and we need to be careful to get distracted, because this kind of distractions takes away. You know, we spend what, somewhere around $8 to $12 trillion in wars that did not produce anything for us in the past 20, 25 years. We have now, what, 34 trillion public debt. At least a third of that is because of the wars, unproductive wars.
Explain to everybody, because I don't know whether all of you understand the program that you have helped create and supported at ASU. You and I were talking a little bit about it earlier. It's really quite remarkable. No, well, it is quite remarkable. It's generous on your part. You say these things and you're doing them. You're supporting the creation of this. So can you share just a little bit with everybody?
So I said, look, we want something with impact. And we want something we could leverage our capital, because it doesn't matter how much capital you have, it's always short. You want to leverage it with other capital. Even, you know, I'm a social entrepreneur, you know. Even a nonprofit, you want to leverage your money. So I said, well, I have an idea for you guys. I said, what is that? I said, well, you know, as an immigrant, you know, I studied engineering from undergrad. But when I applied and got into Thunderbird, I didn't have basic business skills. So I had to take five basic business skill classes before I even was allowed to take more advanced classes at a business school and global education classes. While I was taking those classes, it really was impactful on me, because I started learning the basic language of business. That's when I started understanding the business, how it worked. And I said, wow, how interesting. So I said, okay, in the US, business schools are dime a dozen. They're there every corner. But when you go outside the US and Western English-speaking language world, in business education is rare. It really is not. It's not respected. You know, it's like you go outside the US, in India, Iran, anywhere in the world, an emerging economy, they want you to be a doctor or engineer. You study business? What the hell is that? You study administration? What the hell is that? But you can't even do anything without a budgeting. You have to have budget in everything. It doesn't matter what you do. If you don't understand budget, if you don't understand credit debit, you can't understand budget. So I said, what if we become five basic business skill courses, create a content, translate to every language in the world, put it online for no charge. And I said, let's target global entrepreneurs, help them. So Michael Crow, of course, loved it. Loved the idea.
That's right up his alley.
It was right up his alley, but Sanjeev was worried because he had to implement it.
Right.
He was kind of if and then but ultimately accepted it. So that's a program we call it. It's called the 100 Million Learner Program at Thunderbird. And
What are you most hopeful for about Metro Phoenix, and what are you most concerned about?
really, we're at cross-section of everything that is causing growth in our country. So, and we have now education institution to support it, because you have to have an education platform to support it, and we're so lucky to have Arizona State University and Michael Crow and someone in his vision who is really creating a foundation for becoming really such an important destination. So that is so much positive. And a negative?
What are you concerned about? Not necessarily negative, but concerned about.
Well, no, concern is our political leaders' short-sightedness about education. The fact that members of our legislatures don't believe in education. How could you not believe in education?